Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We've got a Cyber Mirror matchup on Forbidden Pass, and we don't have Zoc or Petrick in this map. In this match, we have Orange Heart, much better known as Mephi, versus Maitz Noob. So, Forbidden Pass, more trees on this map. As you can see, Maitz is going for and we'll see second air from both players. May see some bombers. So what's the meta of this map? Well, you can see you have several bases everywhere. So after building 3 factories, this AC is going to go over this cliff, which you can walk over. Not exactly the most transparent map design, but you'll figure it out fast enough. So he's going to walk across and build this base. He's going to expand upwards, try and contest for this base. The enemy ACU might will be here, and you'll have this base as well. You'll often see people say Zoc. I think Mephi does it. Oh, he's not doing it this time, but where you can build this mex and then edge build your factory up here to well, just to prevent people from just killing this NG and denying all the mexes, maybe getting a tank up onto the plateau. Also adds more build power if you want to attack this side perhaps more aggressively. It's quite slow to send one engineer to grab all these mexes. That is unfortunate. The old version of this map is not as good, where you could just walk up here. You could just walk over this cliff, which is not as interesting. So we have a hydrocarbon here. We have a lot of forest, a bit here as well, which is nice to grab. And we have 2 factories done. Mephi is actually going for a 3rd air factory as well as a 2nd air factory, so that's interesting. You normally just see a 3rd land factory, so he's gonna need that power. Hydrocarbon is a bit maybe slightly slow for when he has this factory done. Still getting some reclaim, but these trees are broken. More trees along here to grab. Air scout overhead. So when you're expanding, if you really want to be top level on this map, you're gonna have to make a transport pretty quick. You don't want to make first transport or anything, but you're gonna have to make one pretty quick if you want to secure some of these further expansions like this one or this one especially, and also to help you regain any expansions which you may have been which may have gotten raided. Say you lose this NG, you want to get a transport to expand here because it's going to take far too long otherwise. Also getting a transport will allow you to and there it is, allow you to get a lot of build power in one spot, so you can rush up that PD very quickly. Now, one thing to note is that Mephi is actually very slow on these mexes. Could have expanded faster, I think so. Maybe these mexes will hurt him. He's going for this mex up here. If we look at the transport, he spots a mantis. That's a problem. even with 4 NGs on board. And he's now actually, he has an attack order on something in Meitz's base. Is it? Oh, it's just inties. So that's gonna basically allow him, he actually just picked up a mantis. So that's gonna help him a lot. And it's also just gonna secure the drop completely. He had the air advantage and sent in his air. Now, oh, I think he really should be reclaiming the mantis instead of building a PD, but there you go. He still keeps 2 alive, 2 engineers alive, and that is pretty secure expansion right now. An NG and an ACU in this position. NG goes down for Maitz in his furthest expansion, but only after he gets a Mantis past and kills the NG. He's only going to deny 1 mechs with that. Bomber goes down, but Mephi wins air because of it. Very solid air victory right here. And now we have a drop of Mantis and yeah, just whatever units he had to hand. Interesting number of Medusa out already. Not sure why he's made so many, but and he's actually going to drop again. This is very, very nice. He has lost actually the rest of the mixes in this expansion. He's probably going to have to, oh yeah, I thought Maitz might kill the transport there, but I think he'd probably drop. I think maybe he should have dropped back here. Also, when you have this much air control, bombers are good, jesters might be better. And this drop here is pretty cool. I don't know if it's the best place to drop, but it's certainly not gonna hurt him, as all the units are up here to kill these guys. Maybe he can get another raid off, kill another mechs, force more units around this side. See, Maitz has added another air factory. It's a lot of assist. That's what you gotta do if you lose air so hard. Make more inties. Make more build power for your air. Maitz actually had 2 NGs quite close by that didn't die. He kept them alive so he can re-expand quite quickly. Again, Mephi drops here to regain his expansion. He's lost quite a few mexes down the bottom. Anti-air turret, a second one going up. Maitz looked like he actually had split his air force, so he lost, and actually he's losing stuff that's being produced. You should really pause air production, I think, in this scenario, but Mephi sort of losing far too much to these anti-airs, static and mobile. And actually there's another static anti-air here, probably to deal with any bombers. And now Mephi's ACU moved across to the right to take this expansion, and he has a factory PD radar in this base, so it's relatively secure, especially with him forcing all the units to the top. So often you see ACUs moving across this way horizontally after they go across the cliff and secure their base, and that can leave the base they leave behind quite open to attack. But at the minute neither really has enough units to go and take out their opponent's base here. This is secured, another PD up. Maitz can't take this, I don't think. I mean, well, he's gonna lose a lot of HP. Is he just gonna retreat? Oh, this terrain is kind of fucking him, but also actually kind of helped as well because the PD wasn't hitting him. Jester's out now, 3 of them, and Maitz is gonna retreat to the water. Over here, Orange Heart, Mephi taking this base, and now you see Maitz just rerouting his forces to this base. It's gonna be a lot easier to take. Maitz gets into the water. See a very steep dive into the water there. Unlike some other maps where you have to walk very far to get underwater, this is quite good. You're below quite quickly. It's really, I think it's better that way, to be honest. Better if you just get into the water and you're under very quickly. Orange Heart setting up more factories to spam. There's a single Medusa here. There's Mantis repairing each other. Interesting. New meta. And just so many units for Maitz. It's running over the production. The hydrocarbon is surely dead. There it goes. Let's see what that does to Mephi's. Well, he doesn't really have much air production now. He put a lot into building these P-gens, and now he's going for T2 land. Maitz could maybe do a bit more with these units. Looks like he's gonna get cut out and leave reclaim. We have an air fight, and it's a terrible place for White Heart for Mephi to fight. God, all these hearts. A lot of mobile anti-air for Maitz. It's almost all mobile anti-air here. So all he's building out of this factory. Starting Tech 2 land for Maitz. Still a very even game. A lot of units for Maitz now. All over the place. Running into the base, there's a PD here. There's hoplites. Interesting that you go for hoplites. They're a very good unit. Especially when you get them in larger groups. I mean, when you have like 3-4 hoplites, it's not that good. If you have a group of 10, 12 hoplites, then they're very good. You get into that scenario where there's basically always one of them shooting. Is really ideal so that they're not just all shooting at the one thing and doing massive overkill damage, destroying all the reclaim. So when you have a larger group, just kind of kite them around, they're always firing, always getting shots off. And now you see mirror, this happens quite often on this map. Both ACU bases go down at the same time because it is a very exposed base, obviously. It's nowhere near any of the rest of your production unless you also get this base, which is, it's not easy to get both of these bases. So it does go down. It's often just a matter of time. Mephi has to regain these mexes, get the reclaim. Looks like he's already got a bit of the reclaim here. Loses a factory, hasn't got the hydro back yet. Now we have gestures for Maitz. He has the gun on his ACU, and he has stealth, or he's making stealth. Meanwhile, Mephi's gone for T2, and he's just gonna fortify this base and not let anything pass on the land, at least. It's going to be difficult. There's a lot of units now. He doesn't have many in support. He has some T2 factory, T2 support factory making rhinos. And now Mephi goes for his T2 power. So you can see how much of a spammy game this has been. A lot of T1 air, a lot of T1 land. That we only see that T2 PGen go now. Maitz certainly ahead on his. He's gonna have it done very soon. Might even be worth. Hmm. Well, he can probably reclaim a fair few pigeons, T1 pigeons. He's going for T3 land. He's a quarter of the way there. He's actually sent a cheeky engineer to take back this base. Mephi should have moved engineers in as soon as he captured the base. As you can see, Maitz much quicker after he destroyed Mephi's base. He has the engineers there. I'm sure Mephi lost his transport a long time ago, so he'll have to build another one. He has very few inties actually. How many does Maitz have? They're in the midst of an air fight. See all these interceptor wrecks in this area. And I somehow missed all of these mexes dying, but also almost all the units got killed along the way. See them trying to path around the shore and getting killed. 7 kills between these PDs and a few kills on Mephi's commander. Wagner's coming out. They're great for targeting hydro. This mech's here, this mech's here, this mech's here. These are all very vulnerable to Wagner's. Even this one, if there wasn't a commander right beside him. Looks like this commander came in and just cleaned up Mephi's army up the top here. He didn't even get through the defenses at this base, and there's a nice reclaim field for Maitz to gather. So both failed pushes on opposite sides of the map. Maitz perhaps did a bit more damage. Actually killed these mexes. It's taken Mephi a while to rebuild. Now he's got his engineer here and the Wagners. Clean this up. The rhinos here are not going to kill these PDs. And we get a slight lull, but only slight, because loyalists are out. They're going to be sprinting across the map here. Mephi has perhaps not spotted T3 land. Okay, here comes the NG, and I think very soon we'll see T3 land started. Once you see it for your opponent, you really have to just go for it right then. He also really could do another pigeon. It's pretty painful. He has to stop all the assists on this factory. And actually, yeah, you can see a lot of NGs moving to the land factory. He is gonna go T3 land very shortly. He has the eco advantage. 4 T2 mechs in the base, no storages. Maitz 3 T2 mechs in the base. But Mephi has this base and this base. That's a significant advantage. So you can see they're split here, but these bases are both in Mephi's control. So he's up a whole base. He actually has T2 mechs in this expansion, so he's gonna have to put a hell of a lot into this base now. Can't afford to let it die. He certainly can't afford to retreat the ACU or anything like that. He has to stand and fight. So Maitz sending his first loyalists to the opposite side, away from the ACU and what's probably going to be a lot of units. This upgrading would have been a great kill, but loyalists are there. More cheeky engineers just reclaiming the space under Mephi's nose. And Maitz is also gonna have his stealth gun commander helping out. And yeah, there you can see several flaks moving across as well. Always got to be careful of the snipes. There are no T2 RHQs for Mephi. So Maitz, it's time for him to get some real damage done. He's taking fire from these PDs, but they're just gonna die very quickly to these loyalists. Yeah, you probably should target fire them, because PDs don't have much health for their cost really. See, they're 2k HP. They cost over 400 mass. So once you get into range, let me just see exactly. Cost 480 mass, yeah, and you only get 2000 HP. Not a huge amount. Compared to say a Rhino, which is like 300 mass, and you get 1900 HP. So as a point of comparison, T3 support factory going up to help this ACU out, and the left base is reclaimed. Maitz takes control of it. That's going to even up map control, but Mephi has been making quite a few mexes. But then Maitz hasn't been shy about upgrading either. He has missed one in his base, unfortunately, but he has 3 outside the base upgraded. 2 more upgrading here. A TMD queued up. And he has a lot of mass in the bank. You don't want to have 1500 mass in the bank at this stage of the game. That's kind of a problem. You do have a T2 HQ now, air HQ for Mephi, and he's going to be making T2 drops. Obviously drops very strong on this map because, well, as it is now, Mephi has locked this side down. There's not going to be any land attacks towards here unless there's transports involved. And again, it's going to be very difficult to attack this position without a transport. So he's made them. Maitz also, you can see, is there in a good position to defend this place without even having to react. And his ACU has several flags nearby in case there's any T2 air shenanigans. And Maitz now cleared up this base as well. And he's kept quite a few units, which is just keeping Mephi honest. He can't really do anything. He certainly can't move across to here. He can't fight this army. He certainly doesn't want to send this quite vulnerable ACU anywhere. No flax at all here. I think stationary flak would be pretty good, and a shield just to be safe, but it does look like he might be losing any advantage he had. Reclaiming going on here. Mex is being built. Map control looks good for Maitz now, thanks to the faster T3 land. And now we got 2 trebs, and they're just going to go to work on this base. He's going to have to defend them with the loyalists. They're very vulnerable to air attack. You get a Corsair, you can probably snipe both of these very, very quickly. In one pass, you should be able to kill a treb with a Corsair. And obviously, a few T1 bombers will do the trick as well. Without any shields, the PDs are going to die fast. And even the support factories are liable to go down if those are targeted. Over here, Mephi has a naval factory. It's actually extremely cheap to just get a naval factory at this stage, and then you can have fucking frigates around the map with excellent radar and sonar also. Oh my goodness, there's going to be some massive casualties here. But Mephi does a good turn. You can see how he actually avoided so many casualties there by just turning. He's moving in this direction. They're getting some hits in. He turns back, and the flaks begin to miss. So you can avoid or minimize damage when you're flying over flak if you spot it fast and do a quick turn back from the way you were headed. No TMD. Also no TML. It looks like the Trebs were forced to retreat. This guy on 50 HP, obviously taking a lot of fire. The other one on full HP. A lot of loyalist wrecks here, which perhaps attack move out of this factory would be pretty nice. And we have an air fight. Does Mephi really want to take this air fight though? I feel like he shouldn't. This looks bad for him. Now will Maitz capitalize? He needs to turn, and yeah, he's killed almost all of Mephi's air now. Huge air advantage. This cloud of inties. 100 inties. Mephi probably has about 20, 30 left. 25. Again, the Trebs start firing, and Mephi pushes them back. Did lose some stuff. Several PDs. Didn't lose the factories. Still has no shield. Still actually has no flax, even though he just lost air absolutely conclusively. And this looks really bad for him now. The loyalists on the top side looks to be more for Maitz. ACU is still pushing. I think at this stage the ACU goes into hiding really, because it's looking damn good for Maitz. Several T2 maxes. It's actually upgrading over here. He's got a big push. Very weird place for a T3 Sport factory. It's quite exposed. And this fight, well, it looked pretty good for Mephi, but he ultimately can't win it outright. And he's left a lot of reclaim in this position, close to enemy engineers. And then the T2 gunships come in, there's no flax, so that's a lot of free damage he's going to get. On this side, Mephi loses another battle. So much reclaim now, all across the map. This is really what allows the eco and the production to accelerate. It's when you have these attritional battles. There's mass all over the map. If you can grab it fast enough, you can just hugely increase your production and hugely increase your economy. Maitz just so ballsy with his commander. It's very dangerous what he's doing here. He actually just overcharged the support factory wreck. Gunships now moving over here. There's no defenses set up, but there's also no T2 mexes. Will he? Well, it looks like he might lose at least some of these, because he's not defending his gunships with his air force. Now he reacts, and actually Mephi has, yeah, I think that was just a misclick, unfortunately. Could have probably killed a few gunships there. And now we got the switch to bricks finally. Took a long time. Had a lot of loyalists, but these bricks, oh, look at that free damage on the stunned loyalists. Another thing to note is that I think if Mephi was a bit closer, he would be able to see this stealth commander. So he would be a lot easier to snipe if he, I think he needs to be a bit closer. because there is this thing called water vision. So you need boats in the water to actually see things that are under the surface. And Maitz is somehow being sniped by Corsairs. All the flax have been killed. It looks like perhaps he was a bit... Oh my god, 3k HP, and he gets into the water. He was a bit laissez-faire with his flax and let them die to probably these loyalists. Now let's see. Yeah, you see, he can see the commander now. Stealth is not such a boon when there's a frigate above you. And so Might's actually attacking the frigate. If he can kill the frigate, then it's almost impossible to kill this commander under the water. There's a lot of torps, but now commander has left and there's no Corsairs left. And over here Mephi has run out of units and he goes down to the T3 land. Damn, that was a good game. Back and forth. Mephi had the advantage. I think maybe he just... Well, we can see where the game turned really. It was Maitz getting his T3 land first, and with those loyalists he was able to take back this base very quickly, and with the commander as well, although I think the loyalists probably were enough on their own. And then obviously mopped up this base immediately, and then with that advantage taken, made sure he kept air and he had the land advantage for really the rest of the game. Mephi setting up this base, I don't know, I mean, he held it for really till the end, but ultimately got killed. He lost too much on the opposite side. I think maybe just too many T2 mexes here instead of the T3 land upgrade, and also maybe lacking power at that critical stage when he had the single P-gen and maybe needed to get everything he wanted. So yeah, T3 land wins the day. Well played from both players. Good comeback from Maitz, because it did look pretty iffy. He had lost the map control for quite a lot of the game. Either way, GG. Mephi had a nice attempt. He almost got the snipe in the end. So never give up in these games, especially as Cybern. Thanks for watching, and GG.